Hi and welcome back to the Crafty Whisk. It's Ollie here again. Today I'm showing you what I'm going to do with the chocolate cake I made as well as the ganache I made. So this is my chocolate cake, which is a chocolate mud cake, and it's all cooled down, ready for me to make the delicious cake balls with. I used to make thousands of these every Christmas. They would just fly out the door. So the first step is to make the cake and the ganache, and then you crumble the cake. I just use a food processor to do this, but you can do it just with your hands. For one mixture of cake or one recipe of cake, I use between 200 and 250 grams of ganache. It needs to be cooled ganache, but it doesn't have to be rock solid or pipeable ganache. It just needs to be soft so that you can mix it through. So I try and catch it before it cools down to the piping stage consistency, which is normally about an hour or so after you've made it. So you mix that completely through until it forms a sort of a solid ball. It doesn't take very long, just a couple of minutes. If you feel that it's too dry, add some more ganache. Basically what you're looking for is once it's all mixed through, you need to be able to grab a little bit of it and roll it into a ball without the ball falling apart. It needs to stay solid. You can add more ganache. It doesn't really matter because chocolate truffles are just made of ganache. So it just means you'll get a softer ball if you add a lot more ganache to it. But this batch is fine. Just I think it was about 220 grams I ended up using. And I use a melon baller as my measurement, which is just from Tupperware, from all the Tupperware parties that we all go to. And I've got tiny little patty tin or patty papers there. Now, this size works well for this size patty liner. If you've got larger ones, which are much more common to get, then you might need 1.5 scoops. It just depends how large you want the cake ball to be. With this size, I get about 125 cake balls. So due to the magic of television, voila, there they all are. And I did not eat any. I was very good. So now my ganache is at piping consistency. As you can see there, it holds its shape. It doesn't fall off the spatula, so it's ready to be piped. And I'm just topping these with sprinkles. Normally at Christmas time, I do add holly and berry sprinkles, but I had run out, so I've used this holiday mix. And I'm just using an open star nozzle, piping nozzle. You can use whatever nozzle you want. It doesn't matter. And you don't even really have to top these with ganache. You can just pop some melted chocolate on there instead. So because ganache is quite sticky, I put my hand around the piping bag and then fold the piping bag over my hand, and then I sort of grab onto the spatula with the piping hand and slide the ganache off the spatula. I don't put too much in because my hands are very hot, and if I put too much ganache in the piping bag at the start, I find that when I get towards the end, the ganache is all melty. So I tend to refill my piping bag as I go. The piping bags I have are very large ones, so I just trim them down to make them more manageable in my hand. And the technique of piping with a little star nozzle like this that I use is I go perpendicular to the cake ball and just give a gentle squeeze, then stop the squeeze and pull up. And it just gives a nice little, like a Hershey's kiss on top of the cake ball. You can do swirls, you can do whatever takes your fancy. So I'll try and show you up close what I do. It's a bit tricky when you're holding it in your hand. That one ends up like a double-decker Hershey's kiss. But you get the drift. It's much easier when they're still in the box there. And then I just sprinkle the sprinkles on. You can pipe, if you've got some red and green leftover buttercream, you can pipe some holly and berries on. You can use sprinkles. You can drizzle some white melted chocolate over the top. That would look really good as well. And these will literally just run into people's mouths. I brought 60 to work the other day and they're all gone. So what you can also do with the ganache when it's at piping consistency is you can pipe little Hershey Kiss kind of things on the plate to decorate it, on top of desserts, on top of cupcakes, anything. It's delicious, the ganache. Thank you for watching. I'll link my chocolate cake recipe and ganache recipe so you can follow those as well. Please click subscribe and share. I'll see you next time.